reminder that I always put in the description a link for you to donate to the Quileute tribe if you are able to, because obviously the Twilight saga took a real group of people. Stephanie Meyer took the culture of this real group of people, and they are in need. They need help to make sure that natural disaster doesn't wipe out their histories and their buildings and everything. So I'll leave the link down below because it's obviously a very important topic when we talk about Twilight. So if you're interested, please help them out, and let's get on with the vlog. Guess what time it is? And I don't mean the literal time. I mean, it's time to start this chunky boy. Look how chunky this book is. Like, it's almost as chunky as me. Like, and this is the most pristine of my copies. Clearly, this corner is the place where my books gets damaged the most. They all get folded here. However, I'm excited to read this chunky boy. It's like a 700 pages, like, and hopefully enjoy it as much as the rest of the series. So yeah, I also ordered the white set. Yeah, I ordered it. I got peer pressured on Twitter, okay? I'm blaming you, Robbie. I'm blaming you. Yeah, I got peer pressured into buying the white set, and I've just almost accepted at this point that I'm going to own my to-read copies. I'm going to own the white paperbacks, and I'm going to own like a hardback version of everything. So I'm going to have 3 copies of these books, and honestly, I can't say that I regret it. I got a package from Amazon. Can you guess what it is? You're probably right. Look at this. It's just beautiful. It's just so beautiful. And if we just nudge one out, we have, this is Twilight. Look at this. Are you for real? Man, this is so bloody pretty. So pretty. So this is not Twilight related. However, it's 2010 fandoms coming back to life related. Percy Jackson is getting a TV show on Disney Plus, and I'm shook. Hello. So today was the quiz, and it was so much fun. I really enjoyed it. Thank you everyone who came and took part. Thank you to my co-hosts. It was so much fun, and if you missed it and you want to check it out, the live stream is now like up on my channel, and you can view it like a normal video. I just wanted to update you on the small amount of reading that I've done so far of Breaking Dawn. So I read like 1 more chapter today. I think I maybe read 2 chapters today, but I read the ceremony, the wedding ceremony chapter. And you know what made me cry? It wasn't the wedding part of it, because I think one thing the movie did better definitely was the wedding was just so emotional for me. But the thing that got me was this paragraph at the end of the chapter, and it goes like this. My mother's arms were the first to find me, her tear-streaked face the first thing I saw when I finally tore my eyes unwillingly from Edward. And then I was handed through the crowd, passed from embrace to embrace, only vaguely aware of who held me. My attention centered on Edward's hand clutched tightly in my own. I did recognize the difference between the soft, warm hugs of my human friends and the gentle, cool embraces of my new family. One scorching hug stood out from all the others. Seth Clearwater had braved the throng of vampires to stand in for my lost werewolf friend. Like, man, so like, it's a fucking Jacob like ran away. That's really upsetting me. And just like Seth as the most wholesome character ever. He's just the most wholesome like little bean. Just a small bean, soft. That's what made me cry. That little line at the end of the chapter, not the wedding, not how much Bella and Edward love each other, not Renee and Charlie talking to Bella. No, none of that stuff that makes me really emotional in the movie. The only thing was the mention of Seth standing in for Jacob. Honestly, crying. So, I thought I'd just have to tell you about that because I can't control my emotions these days when it comes to those damn werewolves.
Keeps
too much, but I've got a bunch of uni work that I need to get done over the past few days, so I don't know how much reading, and so yeah, but don't you worry, my painting has come back to me, and I decided to give it a hand at some Twilight things, and I think this is much better than the last Twilight painting I did, and much better than the other painting that I did today that I won't even show you because it was fucking awful. You think what I showed you last time in the first reading vlog was bad? You think that was bad? You don't want to see the other thing. So what I did was I took sort of inspiration from the color palettes of each of the film. So even though the first film is so blue, I don't know, I find it super relaxing, that color palette, the blue, green, I think it's such a beautiful color. So I took inspiration of that color scheme here. This like blue green color, I actually have one of my brush tip pens is that color. Then New Moon for me is very much a brown film until right at the end, so I have brown and red. And then Eclipse, I don't know, I feel like the color palette in the movie itself isn't so obvious, but in the sort of media and the promo, it's very much like grey with bits of dark green, bits of purple, and bits of red. So I did something a little bit crazier for Eclipse. I'm not gonna lie, I like this a lot, and it was very relaxing to do, and actually quite easy to do this sort of logo. I thought it was going to be a lot harder, but it's not, because I think part of the logo is the small faint lines, and they actually really help you to get the letters all the right size. So I really enjoyed that, and I thought I'd show you. This vlog is just me talking about Twilight, but it finally came. It is the New Moon Volume 1 graphic novel. It's a lot thinner than I thought it would be, but it is beautiful. Like, the illustrations are so perfect. And it smells so good. I am one of those book smellers. I can't wait for December for the second volume of this to come out.
Surround me like virgins clean today. Waist deep in the water, pushing my body away.
So just a quick tiny little video to apologize to anyone that feels offended that I missed off Emmett from the tier ranking video. I'm sorry. I can't believe I went to all that effort to include all the minor characters, and yet I forgot one of my favorite characters, who is also like a main character. So this video goes out to all of the Emmett stans who feel offended by his... I'm sorry. So what we're gonna do about it is we're just gonna imagine that he can have his own tier at the top and be above all the characters. I never thought I'd have to make an apology video here on YouTube. I considered myself to be a very good person and always looking out for people and educating myself, but here I am making an apology video.
When the cops closed the fair, I cut my long baby hair and stole me a dog-eared map and called for you everywhere.
So as you just saw, I made a grave error on my tier ranking video that went up today. I feel really bad for Emma and Kellen Lutz because they deserve so much better. So I made that little thing that I just put in this video to So me and Adam are both currently reading. Tell them what you're reading and show them.
Harry Potter.
So we're both rereading some childhood favourites right now. But I have read the first 3 or 4 of the Jacob chapters, and I love Jacob as a narrator. Like, his sarcasm I rate almost as highly as Percy Jackson's sarcasm. And the chapter titles are bloody marvellous. Chapter 12 is called Some People Just Don't Grasp the Concept of Unwelcome. And then the one that I just read, the chapter was called The 2 Things at the Very Top of My Things I Never Want to Do list. I just love this. And Seth, oh my gosh, Seth is such a pure angel gem of a character. And I didn't think that I could love him any more than I already did. And I was wrong. And that's all for now. Hello everyone. I have finished the Jacob sections of this book. I am honestly really sad because I love them. They're so much funnier than the Bella chapters. And I tweeted before, you know, we're getting Midnight Sun, that's from Edward's perspective, but if we got New Moon from Jacob and Edward's perspective, that would be cool, or from Jacob's perspective. Because his chapter titles are so much funnier. For example, Too Much Information Alert, whereas in Bella's chapters it's called Burning. And also another thing that I didn't quite understand is there's like a prologue to the second Bella section in the book. So there's like a prologue in the middle. Is that a normal thing? Because that confused me a lot and I think that's strange.
Speak up, speak up. You won't speak up, speak up.
This chunky boy, I'd say I'm probably 2/3 of the way through. We'll see when I add it into Goodreads. But what is getting me, first of all, what just got me, was the paragraph at the end of the chapter where Bella and Edward go into their like new cottage thing. This paragraph, they having this conversation about how they're gonna stop having sex because it's so good and they don't need to breathe and they don't need to eat and they don't need to go to the toilet. Then this is the paragraph at the end of the chapter that just made me question everything. It says, we laughed together and the motion of our laughter did interesting things the way our bodies were connected, effectively ending that conversation. Like, Stephanie, babe, what is that supposed to mean? Like, were they still connected? You know? In that way? Is that what you were referring to? Or are they just cuddling? I'm confused. But also, I don't understand why Bella is so pressed about the baby being nicknamed Nessie. And I also don't understand why Stephanie put that there into the story. Why not? It's like such a big part of like the story. I don't get it, and I don't understand why Bella is so annoyed by it. Like, that was what set her off. Like, that is what set her off that caused Seth to be injured. I don't get it. And I'm enjoying it though. All of my books seem to get damaged in the same place, and I don't know whether it's something to do with how I hold them. It must be, because these books, I've reread them a few times and they're all bending here. That's where the most of the damage on my first Twilight book is. But also some of the other books that I have read, they seem to get damaged there. Like when I was reading his Dark Materials, I think the Amber Spyglass took me quite a while and it got damaged here too. So strange. Does anyone else seem to have a certain place where their books get like wear and tear? I just think it's quite interesting. But I do think that is the place for me. We are yet to run into the second problem of this book, which this book feels so much like it could be 2 books. Like, it fully could have been 2 books. Like, we could have had up to the birth and then a separate book for like the next part. Like, it could have been 2 books. I don't quite understand why it was one chunky book. Why wasn't it 2? If you know, let me know. I have gone through quite a bit more of this. I'm now on page 480, so I've read about 80 pages. And it's going really well. Why does she still refer to her dad as Charlie? Why doesn't she refer to him as dad? This has got me since the first book. And I guess more so in the first book, it was explainable because she hadn't really spent that much time with him. But now, why is she still referring to him as Charlie? I'll never know. I'm sad that we don't get as much Seth now because obviously Seth is a bigger part of Jacob's life than Bella's life, and that makes me really sad because Seth is like one of my faves. I have many Twilight faves. Seth is definitely one. And one thing that I want to like sort of talk about is definitely, I don't know how much I've spoken about this before, but there's a definite trend. A lot of my TikToks are now Twilight on my For You page. But a lot of the people who are talking about being Twilight fans now and that are excited about Midnight Sun, a lot of the people that started to have this conversation that I've had within myself for a few weeks now, that the reason why Twilight, and also Percy Jackson to the same extent with the new show, the reason why these things are making a comeback and they're so important to people is because it's almost like a part of their life that was easier and more simple. And the world is really stressful right now, and this is a time where sort of like regression is really prominent. And I was talking to Adam about it last night, and we were talking about how this is like, it's a form of regression, and when you go through something stressful that you revert back to your like interests from when you were a kid, when you were younger. And I think for me that is definitely what's happening with Twilight, because it's not, there's a lot of flaws within it and there's a lot of issues surrounding it. But for me and a lot of other people, it's a time in our lives where everything was a lot less stressful, a lot less chaotic and upsetting. And especially now with the world on its arse, it does something different. It hits different, to use the internet speak. And I think that's like a really important thing to acknowledge with this whole thing, that it's not just people being childish, as I've seen some people say. It is needing the childish comforts. It's the same reason why I still have my blanket from when I was a kid, because it just does something, it just takes you back and comfort. It's all about comfort. So I've rambled on about this for a bit too long, I think. So I'm just up to the bit where Alice has just left. I never got upset at this point. I never got upset in the movie because I knew why she left. But I don't remember reading this part of Breaking Dawn. Breaking Dawn, I definitely read it less than all of the others. Twilight I read the most because it's the first book in the series. Eclipse I read. New Moon I read a bit more because it's the second book. And Eclipse I definitely read quite a bit just on its own because Eclipse is my favorite. But Breaking Dawn is really quite big and it's quite intimidating, the length of the book, so I never really read it all that much, so I don't remember reading this part, but it's made me really sad. Like, I know why, but it's still making me sad. Don't like it at all. So I have a bone to pick with this movie, Breaking Dawn Part 2. First of all, we have this whole fight sequence where all your favourite characters die. Notably Carlisle and Seth. So we agree, this scene, horrible, hate it, don't like it. The second of Alice's visions that don't make any sense is this one, where we have Jacob and Renesmee leading a happy life in the future. Now, besides the obvious issues with the relationship in general, I'm talking the paedophilia, this shouldn't happen because Alice can't see wolves nor Renesmee. So it's confirmed in the end of New Moon, which causes the whole issue, that Alice cannot see Jacob because she didn't see Bella getting pulled out. And again, in the first part of the movie, it is confirmed because she says she can't see Renesmee, she can't see Bella's future because of the pregnancy. So why could she see this? As you just saw from that TikTok, I discovered a major issue with the Breaking Dawn Part 2 movie is the fact that Alice is having all of these visions that she can't have. And like this, all like everyone is like, oh, well, they needed to make like a Breaking Dawn Part 2 and like have a big battle sequence. But did they? Did we need to watch Carlisle, Jasper, Seth, Leah, just to name a few? Did we need to watch those did we need to watch those people die? I don't know. And so I think the Breaking Dawn Part 2 movie is really annoying in that respect.
Cover your tracks. Show up your
I know my French looks ratchet as fuck, but I have 100 pages, almost exactly, left of this book, and again, the action is left to the last 100 pages. Stephanie Meyer, why are you doing this? Can't we stretch out a little bit longer? I don't understand. I don't understand.
cover your tracks. Cover your
Right, guys, so last night I finished Breaking Dawn, and I have many a thought about Breaking Dawn and the entire series. But what I will say is I enjoyed reading and rereading the series very much. It was a very nostalgic and safe space for me. But the biggest problem I had with Breaking Dawn was the fact that Jacob imprinted on Renesmee. So my friend Gigi, I'll link her channel down below, who also likes Twilight, she was in my quiz. She is a Renesmee stan, and at the end of the book, Edward asides that Nahul really looked interested in Renesmee because she is the only half human, half vampire hybrid that's not his sister, and it got me thinking that it would be really interesting and really cool to have Renesmee end up with him and not Jacob, and then Jacob could end up with Leah. And Leah, they have shared experience, they have being the wolves, having unrequited love. Then also Seth would be Jacob's actual brother, which would be perfect. He already thinks of him as a brother, he already loves him, he already loves Sue. Like, why couldn't that happen? You see, it fits better, it's less creepy, and gives Renesmee a choice. It's like, I don't understand why Stephanie Meyer had to resolve a love triangle by having the unsuccessful man fall in love with the daughter of the girl. Like, I don't understand, but I much enjoyed Benjamin in this. I forgot that Alistair actually just left. He just left. I'm feeling a bit empty on the inside now. Thank you very much for watching. In the future, there'll be a lot more Twilight content on the Countdown to Midnight Sun. Stick around. I still have The Short Second Life of Brie Tanner and Life and Death to read, so don't you worry, there'll be a lot more Twilight reading vlogs coming your way. But stick around for more sort of university videos and body positivity. And thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Please subscribe and stick around. Give me a like, ring the bell, comment down below your favourite Twilight book. Thanks for being a faithful, and thanks for watching.